Israel was created as the instrument to bring about the Battle of Armageddon and the fulfillment of prophecy, a war that will be so terrible, where nuclear weapons will be used, so that the American citizens and the other people in the world will get down on their knees and beg for no more war. And what is the answer to that? They're going to be told the only way we can guarantee no more war is if we destroy the sovereignty of nations and we come together as one humanity in a one world government.
Right.
Now I'm telling you, unless the American people wake up and stop it, starting in about 1996, the Battle of Armageddon will become a reality. Babylon is in Iraq. Read the book of Revelations. Whether you believe in the book or not, read it, because the men who are bringing this about are using it as their script.
Well, the UN did indeed charter Israel as a sovereign nation. They were the ones who created this state.
That is correct. It was really created by Great Britain and the United States, with the United States being the major instigant. Israel was created as the instrument to bring about the Battle of Armageddon and the fulfillment of prophecy.
Hey, Shalom. I'd like to start out by giving all glory, praise, and honor to Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai Bahasham, Rakha Kwadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of the Great Millstone. Shalom to the elect of Israel. This is the Mayim in Atlanta. You just saw the guy there. He said that the land, or the state of Israel, was created to bring about prophecy, in which it was. And it's through Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, but he used these devils, the Amalekites, who were these tiny top people, the people with the tiny tops, big noses, the ones in the state currently calling themselves the Lord's people, them and the rest of Edom, so-called Caucasians and the white race, in which that's very nuanced, because just because you look like one of the tiny tops or a so-called Caucasian doesn't mean you actually come through that lineage, that bloodline. You could be an Israelite, you could be of another nation, and vice versa. Just because so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, the actual true Israelites, people, just because they look like an Israelite doesn't mean they're actually an Israelite, because they could come through the same lineage of evil. Here, the Edomites, in which Amalek, those small, tiny tops, that's the head tribe of Edom. And so yeah, there's nuance there, but the Lord used these people to bring about the creation of the state of Israel. And he did this for prophecy, because this is why all the nations are going to gather together to that battle of Armageddon in the valley of Yahweh Shaphat. Basically, same thing, where the Lord's going to judge all the nations for what they've done to his people and for the parting of his land, in which you look at it now, and it is parted. You've got Ishmael over there calling themselves the Philistines, the updated version of how to say that. And then you've got Amalek over there pretending to be the people of the Lord, in which they are actually hated of the Lord. And he's about to show them exactly how much he hates them. But yeah, and he even went in to say how it's going to bring the end of war, in which that's actually what's going to happen. But it's with Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, and Yahweh Shai returning and setting up his kingdom on earth, with both the northern and the southern kingdom there, which those people now, they only basically say they have the southern kingdom. That's a really good way to know that they're not the people, because where's the other tribes? And with that, he's also going to, there will be no more war, and everybody's going to flow. Let's actually just go to the book of Isaiah in the second chapter to see this. So Isaiah 2 in verse 1, it says, the word that Isaiah the son of Amos saw concerning Judah and Jerusalem, so showing both northern and southern kingdoms. It says, and it shall come to pass in the last days that the mountain of the Lord's house, the mountain being the government of the Lord, shall be of the Lord's house, through Israel, shall be established in the top of the mountains. So this is the word that's going to be over everybody else's say. This is the world governing government that will be here, and shall be exalted above the hills go into smaller governments, and all nations shall flow unto it. So this is, if those were the people, we'd all be going there to learn the Lord's ways. We'd all be going there, and it be the word. But instead, here we have all the other nations have their own constitutions and their own laws set up. That wouldn't be so in the kingdom of heaven. And you look at the Judeo-Christianity, and they take away the law. They say the law is done away with. So it's a really good way to see that these ain't the people. And it says, and many people shall go and say, come ye, and let us go up to the mountain of the Lord. People aren't saying that. Let's all go to the state of Israel. No, nobody's saying that. It says, to the house of the Most High of Jacob, which, yeah, you have some Christians that try to say, I want to go visit Israel, and then they get treated poorly. He says, and he will teach us of his ways, and we will walk in his paths. For out of Zion shall go forth the law and the word of the Lord from Jerusalem. That is not happening. That is not happening. There's just war, and they have Pink City over there, the biggest alphabet parade of all time. No, it's just not happening. Those aren't the people. It says, and he shall judge among the nations, and shall rebuke many people, and they shall beat their swords into plowshares, and their spears into pruning hooks. Check out the wording there. In Joel 3, it has basically the opposite of that, where they shall beat their plowshares into swords and their pruning hooks into spears to prepare for war, this war that is about to come. But after, there will be no more war. So these resources go into agriculture and infrastructure and ways to build up nations, not to destroy nations. It says, nation shall not lift up sword against nation, neither shall they learn war anymore. And so that is not happening. We still have war. There's many wars going on, and rumors of wars and all sorts of stuff. We're not there. Just to show the other side, Joel 3:10. Actually, Joel 3:9. It says, proclaim ye this among the Gentiles, prepare war, wake up the mighty men, let all the men of war draw near, let them come up. So that's what's currently happening. Nations are preparing for war. That's why we see so many military parades. That's why we see these the showing of new weapons, new military technology. We're seeing that because they are getting ready for World War III. And that's just, World War III is just another name for the Battle of Armageddon and for the Valley of Yehoshaphat. It's just different names for the same war. It says, beat your plowshares into swords and your pruning hooks into spears. Let the weak say, I am strong. So you see the wording there. It's the exact opposite, because Isaiah 2 happens after Joel 3. But we've got these people saying different. But going into the Battle of Armageddon, as that guy spoke of, how the state of Israel is really set up to bring about the Battle of Armageddon, in which it is, in which the Lord is doing that, using the Edomites. He used them to create a Balfour Declaration. He used them to stage what they needed to stage to set up that land. And he's going to use them to bring about the end. He's going to use them for Jacob's trouble too, because they are the sword of the Lord currently. But he's about to put that sword down. And that's something that these Edomites don't have planned, because they're about to go, once the dust of World War III is cleared, they're gonna be in chains. and hating life. But right now they are at the top of the world. So Revelation 16, and we're going to start at verse 12. And it says, "And the sixth angel poured out his vial upon the great river Euphrates," and that's over there in the Middle East, or so-called Middle East, Western Asia, as we should really say, or it's over there in the Levant, "and the water thereof was dried up, that the way of the kings of the east might be prepared." And this Euphrates is currently drying up, and you look at parts of it, and it looks like an omega, because the Alpha and Omega is coming to bring the end of Esau's world. Skipping down to verse 14, it says, "For they are the spirits of devils, working miracles which go forth unto the kings of the earth." And the Edomites particularly are devils. They have lied about everything. They've lied about who those people are in the Lord's land, claiming to be the people. Those are Edomites. Amalek in particular. They've lied about the name of the Lord. They push Jesus the Christ around. That's a lie. Just there to make him sound more Greek, so they could push the lie of his image being a quote-unquote white man, or really red man, because that's Edom. Edom's red. That's an Idumean that you're looking at when people talk about Jesus the Christ. And that's why they have the name there too, to go with the Idumean, because they conquered Greece and pushed Japheth out and took it onto themselves, started calling themselves the Greeks. But not only have they lied about the image of the Son, they've lied about the image of the Father, of the angel, of the Israelites. They've covered that all up. They actually had the Israelites in captivity and stole their heritage then. They've lied about everything. And the word devil goes into slanderer or deceiver. Just liars. These are liars. And their lies are being found out. Working miracles, because they have their technology and their media, which go forth unto the kings of the earth and of the whole world, to gather them to the battle, this great battle that is about to take place, World War III, of that great day of the Most High Almighty. This is the great and terrible day of the Lord that we are at the cusp of. Verse 16, "And he gathered them together into a place called in the Hebrew tongue Armageddon." So let's get that word. Strong's G 717, Harmageddon. And it says the hill or city of Megiddo, but really we know it to be the mountain of the troops, or mount of the troops. And so you could go into the etymology right here, and it has two Hebrew words. So Har, which is hill, mountain, country mount. So that's where you get mountain. So it's a shortened mountain or range of hills. Yeah, so you get mountain there, so mount of the troops. And then from another Hebrew word, Strong's H 4023. And you could even see the name Gad within there. It says place of crowds, but that goes in, Gad's name means troop. See it right there. Good dad. Troop, so mountain of the troops. Symbolic name. And yeah, and they're all going to meet there. We're going to go back to Joel now, because really them having the land, being in the state, that state that they've created themselves, is the whole reason for all of this happening, plus touching the apple of the Lord's eye. So Joel 3:2. "I will also gather all nations, and will bring them down into the valley of Yahweh Shaphat." So that's the Lord's name, Yahweh. Shaphat goes into judgment. It's the Lord's judgment. "And will plead with them," which even that word plead goes into judging. "There for my people and for my heritage Israel, true Israels, the Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, as well as our scattered. We have been, in which I was going into that earlier, scattered. We've been scattered to the four corners of the earth. So we're going to look like all nations, but we all go back to one seed line through our fathers, through your father's lineage. And that is true Israel. We're the ones that are under the curses. We are the tail and not the head. But then you've got Amalek, who is actually the head, the first of the nations, which Salaki, I gotta get that too, just to show you that these are actually Amalekites. Numbers 24 and verse 20. And when he looked on Amalek, he took up his parable and said, Amalek was the first of the nations. And this has multiple meanings because they came out against us first. And during Exodus, the first ones to come out as we're leaving Egypt to come take us to battle. But this is going into end time prophecy because Balaam said, let me show you, jumping up to 14, he said, now behold, I go unto my people, come therefore, I will advertise thee what this people, the Israelites, shall do to thy people in the latter days. So what they're going to do to them in the end. So in the latter days, who's the first of the nations? You look up in the social hierarchy, who owns the banking system? Who runs the media and entertainment? Who can take lands and claim them for themselves? Like the state of Israel. Who can do that? That's Amalek. And these are the people that we call those tiny tops with the big noses. Those people in the state calling themselves that were these people that, the Ishes. That's who this is. The first of the nations. But his latter end shall be that he perish forever. And then you look at Judeo-Christianity and they will tell you that everybody can make it. All nations can be saved. How's somebody going to perish forever, but everybody can be saved? Just shut up. Going back to Joel 3 in verse 2. I will also gather all nations and will bring them down into the valley of Yahweh-Shaphat and will plead with them there for my people and for my heritage Israel. Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans who are at the bottom, who are the tail, who will be the tail and not the head. And then the head is Amalek currently, for a moment longer though. It says, whom they have scattered among the nations. When was Amalek scattered? When were those people scattered? They weren't. It was all through their own doing if they were. And parted my land. They've scattered us. They've put us into captivity. And they took our land, they took our heritage, and they're pretending to be us. And really, it's all of Idumea, as it says here, Ezekiel 36 and 5, because the rest of Edom, and even in that guy's video, in that clip we saw, he was talking about how the U.S. and Europe helped. That's the rest of Idumea, all of Idumea. They helped to do this, and so they're all going to be punished. All of them are going to be taken off of this planet. That whole seed line of people, showing they can't all be saved. But it names them here because those two link Joel 3 and 2 and Ezekiel 36 and 5. It says, therefore, thus saith the Lord power, surely in the fire of my jealousy have I spoken against the residue of the heathen. So you've got the Philistines there who are actually Ishmaelites pretending, or just, they had that name. The new name of it, I don't want to say too much, but they've got the new name, calling themselves basically an adjusted way of saying Philistine. And that's the heathen. And there's other heathen there too. You got Hamites there, you got Moabites there, you have various Christian groups there. Heathen are in the land. So there's a residue of them, a remnant of them. And it says, and against all Idumea, all of Idumea. So you've got Amalek, you've got all those European nations that work together to push the Balfour Declaration. You've got the United States of America, who had a huge hand in it. They give massive amounts of support to the state of Israel as well. That's the rest of Idumea, so-called white people and the small hatters, which these small hatters are just so-called white people or Caucasians. And I've gone into the nuances of it, but yeah, that's that wicked seed. That's the how's the amazing Lucas say, the lineage of evil, if I'm saying it correct. That's it. Those are the bad guys of the book. That's the devil. Those are the people of Satan. Just massive liars. And they're bloody, violent people. They've got the blessing of the sword. What else do you expect? And then they try to categorize other people, particularly the Negroes, the actual true Judites, as the violent people, as the disorderly ones. That's the accuser of the brethren. Those Edomites are the accuser of the brethren, which goes into categoria. They categorize us as bad people, but they're truly the wicked. That's who they are in the scripts, the wicked. And against all Idumea, so-called white people, and the tiny tops, which have appointed my land, the land of Israel, into their possession with the joy of all their heart. He did this through the Balfour Declaration, with despiteful minds to cast it out for a prey. The prey departeth not. But Yahweh Bashem El-Shai is coming to gather his people. He's going to come gather the remnant of Israel. And actually, let's go here and put down the remnant of Edom. Amos 9 and 11. And that day will I raise up the tabernacle of David that is fallen. A collaboration of all 12 tribes. That's what the tabernacle of David was. It consisted of his mighty men, his court, all 12 tribes were there. And these are the dry bones that are awakening, the ones that actually have the true truth of it, the full truth of it. That's the hopeful elect in which the Lord is raising up currently, giving them the truth of the matter, and they're sending it out to the four corners of the earth, the true word. And close up the breaches thereof. He's putting us all back together. And I will raise up his ruins, and I will build it as in the days of old. In the days of old, all the other nations were under the foot of David. And that's what's coming again. How can everybody be saved? Showing you Judeo-Christianity is just a form of witchcraft. They say things over and over and over again, and the world takes it as reality at this point. Where they put images out there that are not true, and the world takes it as reality. And then when the truth is here, the world has a very hard time accepting it because they are under the spell of Edomite supremacy. Verse 12, that they may possess the remnant of Edom, and this is going to be mainly their elite, who are going to go lock themselves away in bunkers while the destruction comes, and they think they're going to come out and rise up like the phoenix and establish their NWO. That is not going to happen. None of this is going to work for them. And they're gonna be the first ones in chains in the true NWO that is coming under Yahweh Bashem El-Shai and under the throne of David. It's going to be for the true Israelites. And of all the heathen, because all the other heathen go under too. They all acted confederately. Psalms 83. To take us down and keep our name out of remembrance. Which are called by my name, saith the Lord that doeth this. Behold, the days come, saith the Lord, that the plowman shall overtake the reaper. This is what I was saying, basically notioning to earlier, that these tiny tops, are the head and not the tail. But here's the switch right here. And that we, the actual true Israelites, are at the bottom. First shall be last, and last shall be first. We're at the bottom. We are the tail currently, but this is all coming. So true order is about to be established. It says that the plowman shall overtake the reaper. The Israelites are the plowman. The reaper can be likened to the Edomites currently. And the treader of grapes, him that soweth seed. And the mountain shall drop sweet wine, the actual full truth, the Lord's true doctrine, and all the hills shall melt, because all rule, power, and authority is about to be put down with the return of Yahweh, Bahasham Yahweh Shai. And so, yes, Israel the state was established to bring about this great battle. And it is coming. It's just not in their favor as they believe it to be. And so, Lord willing, that was edifying. I'd like to give all glory, praise, and honor to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rekach Wadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of the great millstone. Shalom to the elect of Israel. Shalom. Let's take it out one more time. Salakia. All right, that's it.